everyone, my name is Sarah Lipkowitz. I'm a real estate agent based in Montgomery County, Maryland. I specialize in residential and equestrian properties in Maryland and Virginia. And I just finished up at a listing appointment. I was meeting with a seller who is contemplating selling their home in 2022, and I figured it was time to make a video about preparing your home for sale because there are a lot of pieces of advice floating around out there that aren't necessarily current or effective, and so I figured I'd go through some of the things I discuss with my sellers. Some sellers feel a little self-conscious about having their realtor come through their home before they're totally ready, before the home's been cleaned and decluttered. Personally, I really like walking through a home before it's completely ready to list because it helps me get a sense of what needs to be done, and hopefully I can save the seller a little money. Sometimes there are things that the seller can get away with not having to do, particularly things that may have once been the advice but have been shown not to be all that effective. So some of the pieces of advice you'll often hear is that you need to completely depersonalize your home, take down photos, any, quirky pieces of art, they have to go. You have to get rid of everything in your closets and, just make sure everything is as bland and, personality-less as possible. And I haven't found that to be true. I think as long as your decor in the house is cohesive, then it's fine. It's totally okay to have some pictures and family photos up. Now, if you're uncomfortable with that, that's one thing, but I find a lot of buyers actually like to get a sense of who's lived in the house before them. And if you get rid of too many things, for example, in your closets, we tend to tell people to aim for 75% capacity so people can tell how big the closets are. They don't look like they're overstuffed. But if you get rid of everything, sometimes it makes it look like it's a distress sale. And buyers will notice that. I can't tell you how many times I've walked through a house with a buyer and they've looked into the closets and started to, make guesses about why the seller is leaving, or, if it's a distress sale and they might be able to make a lower offer. It's a very common mindset for a buyer. So I don't think it's in your best interest as a seller to get rid of everything and to make the house look vacant or to make it look like you've moved out. I find that most buyers don't mind at all if there's some personal decor and pictures in the house. That being said, it is important to declutter to a certain degree. Again, we tell sellers to aim for 75, sometimes 50% of the capacity of each closet if they can. And it's really mostly that you want to make the house navigable. You want to make sure the buyers can get a very solid idea of how big the house is and if their furniture will fit and how many closets they have, how much closet space they have, and then also that they're able to get around the house comfortably, because if they're tripping over your stuff, it's not going to leave the best impression on a buyer. So you do want to make sure that every room has its purpose. So it's okay if you're using an extra bedroom as an office or a workout room, but it needs to be very clearly purposed for that. And it needs to be that people can get in and out and they can visualize the space and get an understanding of how big the space actually is. If it's really, really cluttered, a lot of buyers will try to get in and out of the house as fast as possible, and you want people to spend time in your house. The more time a buyer spends in the house, the more likely it is they're going to write an offer. So they need to be comfortable there. But you also want to make sure, for instance, that you've cleared off all your countertops. Counter space is a big thing for most people. They want to have an understanding of how much counter space they have, and if you have a lot of personal items, toothbrushes and, soaps and hair products on your counters in your bathroom, and if you have a ton of appliances on your counters in your kitchen, it makes it look like you don't have all that much counter space. And so that's something we recommend. You put away your personal items in your bathroom and you put away as many appliances as you can. You tuck them away just so people can get a sense of how much counter space there is. A lot of people may be surprised to hear this, but generally speaking, renovations are not worth it when you're getting ready to sell. If you know you're going to sell in the next couple months, don't renovate your kitchen for $50,000 or more. Don't do a full bathroom renovation because you're not going to see a return on that. Same with things like your roof. If your roof doesn't need to be replaced, but it's getting up there in age, You're maybe going to get 60 cents to the dollar when you sell it. It's a great marketing point, but it's not necessarily something you're going to get a return on. So unless you're going to stick around and enjoy those big renovations and those big updates, I would not do them. Now, if something is totally broken, certainly repair it, replace it. There are plenty of things that you can do to update the look of a property. You could replace appliances, you could replace vanities in the bathroom. Painting is almost always worth it. You can clean or replace carpet. Things that are not going to necessarily cost you an arm and a leg are often worth it, but I'm talking about those big renovations, big updates that are costing you tens of thousands of dollars. Typically, unless they absolutely have to be done, it's not worth it. I think one of the best ways to think about it is that you want to take care of anything that a buyer might view as a project. Now, anybody who's owned a home or a farm knows that it means endless projects. There's always things you could be doing and updating and improving upon. However, when you are having buyers walking through your home, you don't want them immediately pinpointing 50 different projects. You want your home to look as well maintained as possible, which hopefully it is. But this means sometimes just little things like painting trim, touching up, scuff marks and scratches on the walls, replacing, handles and pulls on cabinets, and, landscaping, just weeding the garden beds. Things like that can make a huge difference. And it's why I really do like to walk through homes before sellers feel ready, because sometimes I walk in and they're expecting me to tell them that they need to spend $15,000 on something, when the reality is their home is in great shape and what they really need to do is paint a bit of trim, maybe put some potted plants out and mulch, and it doesn't need to be that they are spending a ton of money. And I really enjoy walking through and helping people pick out the projects that are going to be worth it to them to get the price they want for their home. Thank you for watching. I really hope you found this video helpful and that you'll remember to like and subscribe. Again, my name is Sarah Lipkowitz. I'm a real estate agent based in Montgomery County, Maryland. I specialize in residential and equestrian properties in Maryland and Virginia.